Good morning. It's August 21st. It's a very nice day out today. Today I'm just going to go around the garden and document what I've grown this year, any issues that I noticed that I've had, and this is pretty much just documentation so I know next year what to change, because there was some issues this year. If anybody watches this video, that's awesome, but really it's just documentation for me so I remember what to do next year. So let's just take a little walk around. In this raised bed is all my cucumber plants. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. When I first started, I started everything from seed, but the plants just weren't taken off. So I went and I bought 3 plants from the nursery and planted those. So this one here, one in the middle and one at the end. And they started going off, but during that time the ones that I started from seed started taking off, so I planted one in the middle and one in a pot, which I was going to try to grow elsewhere. However, having the mesh fence behind it made it kind of necessary to put it here, and that one I just left in the pot as a sort of a trial to see what happened. It wasn't the best because it just couldn't grow properly, so it was all yellow all year. It wasn't the greatest. I definitely won't do cucumbers in the pot again. So we move to the next garden here, and we have some zucchinis. So the zucchinis are actually, this is a new garden that I put in this year. They're all new along here, but this is an existing one that moved. This is new one in the ground. So I did a zucchini in the back with the vine growing behind it, which I thought this was a vining zucchini. However, it is not, it's a bush. So I put tomatoes in front of it, which they just overcrowded each other. As you can see, this took over everything. So I transplanted the tomatoes. We'll go look at those in a little bit. There's 2 zucchini plants, and then there's 2 tomato plants, so I moved them both. Behind it, we have some spaghetti squash growing. They're actually coming out pretty good. We got 2 hanging here, and we've already removed 2. They're ripening up. So I got 2 spaghetti squash plants, and they both go up, and then this one here actually jumps over to the big one because I had so much extra vine, so I tried to train it to go over there. And I randomly threw one of my other cucumbers down here just to see what would happen. It did not do well. It wasn't quite in the any good dirt, but this one here apparently did get a couple cucumbers, but it keeps the animals away from the other ones, and they just eat these ones, so that's kind of a good thing. Oh, that's not eating, that's actually on the vine. Interesting. I thought they were eating. Anyways, so I have nothing for this one to climb up, and then if I step back, you'll see these giant sunflowers that just overpowered everything. My son wanted to plant them, and I needed somewhere to put them, and unfortunately, I thought I had room for them. Definitely will not plant sunflowers in front of any other vegetables again. I'll show you where I planted the other ones, which is a good spot for next year. So as we move slightly over, we have this raised garden bed, which was lettuce at the beginning of the year and carrots over here, so half carrots, half lettuces. Actually, we go back to this one here. I did have lettuce and spinach and stuff in this one, which did really good at the beginning of the year until July when it started getting hot and had to come out. So this one here, after the lettuces were all done, I planted peppers in here. I transplanted peppers in here. I'll show you where I took them from earlier. So I actually put these beans in here, or peas in here, slightly after, but I haven't got them staked up yet because I didn't have anything to climb on. Unfortunately, they're just a bush right now. So these peppers, honestly, we haven't really gotten any peppers out of this. So next year the plan is to take this shed down, which leaks, so it's not really helping us. So we're going to take the metal from it, the sides, and we're going to close in underneath this porch. So any rain that comes through will drip down and just out to an eaves trough or something. And then we can get all the kids' stuff out of here and put the shed stuff in here. one random zucchini plant that I had left over that I planted, just threw it in the dirt, and it's actually doing surprisingly well. Just literally thrown in the dirt. I didn't do any prep to that hole. So this shed is 8 foot by 10 foot, no, 8 foot by 12 foot. So that would give me a nice sized garden there. And then beside it, we have another extra 4 feet or so. So I can extend that way 4 feet. So it'll be 8 by 16 feet, which is very decent. That'll come down and next weekend hopefully, and I'll start making a garden there for next year. I have to get my garlic in the ground, so I think I'm going to put it along there. So we'll go over to the other side of the yard and take a look over there. Here's 2 of our spaghetti squash that we've already removed. There's a cicada making some nice noise there. So here's 2 of our spaghetti squash, another cicada. Anyways, there's 2 of our spaghetti squash that we're just letting finalize the ripening up. So we're just letting them sit out in the sun here. But it does get sunny here. Like I said, we're early morning, so these will yellow up and then make something out of them. So over in this raised bed, I've started putting in a bunch of carrots. I did these late July, maybe mid-July, all the carrots, a bunch of spinach, and then some lettuces that haven't done very well, but I'll put some more in because I want to test if this will grow anything throughout the winter. It's just a little hoop house. The other garden that we were just at last, the other raised bed with the peppers in it, is actually a glass top one. So that one I'm gonna try to grow some lettuces in as well. So this one here is where I had all my pepper plants. The year before they did really well, but I'm getting wet here. This tree was blocking out a lot of the sun. So right now I have a lot of shade, but in the spring I have a lot of sun. So I'm not really sure what to do with this. I might move it over to the spot beside the shed where the extra 4 feet was and just place it there. Just off to the edge here is where I had the first raised garden bed that I showed you. So it was over here, and the first couple years it did good, but it's just too shady along this inside fence. So we just threw some wildflowers here to attract some butterflies and bees. The kids love planting them. They're just randomly thrown in there, but they like them. One zucchini that literally I just threw in the ground, no prep again. This one actually had composted garden soil on top of it from the raised garden bed, but this one just doesn't do very well because it's in the shade. So no plants on this side, I don't think. It's not worth it. Back in the corner here, right behind the hoop house, I transplanted some more peppers there because there was some sun. This is where I transplanted the cherry tomatoes that were in front of the zucchini. Another pepper. This has always been here for the last 3 years, just a bunch of strawberries in an old tub. I'm going to move that. I'll either plant these in the ground and make a strawberry patch, or I'll move this whole container somewhere else and just have full sun for these. Just gonna step around the garden here and show you the other half. So this is where I planted some more peppers and 2 more of the tomato plants. I'm looking at it now. I must have had 3 tomato plants over there because these were all transplanted. So this little patch here and the patch back there with the other tomatoes and peppers is where I grew my garlic the last 2 years. This year they got a little bit too small, so I'm going to put them in full sun, or at least change the location up so that we don't deprive the soil right now. So I'm thinking about planting corn here just to try it out, the whole row. So it'd be 4 feet or so by 16, and if I move this I can actually come out a little bit more to maybe 6 feet by 16, and I just want to try to grow corn and see what happens. It might work, it might not. So just off to the side here, underneath this shady tree, is our original raspberry bush. Let me get over this furniture here. So this raspberry bush has been here for a few years. It maybe has to be thinned back. It's not producing that well. but we bought 2 more this year, so there's one. This one here was actually planted over there. I was going to try to grow a long row of raspberries, but because of the tree, it was all shaded almost all of the day. So we transplanted them out here into the yard a little bit more, and hopefully they'll do better. So I'll probably build some sort of trellis to keep them trained, and hopefully we'll get some raspberries out of these. One of the final spots is the kids' playhouse here. So this is, I just dug up like 6 to 8 inch wide of dirt, and that's where I stuck some of the sunflowers my son grew. We grew like maybe 15 of them in containers and then had to transplant them, and I just needed somewhere to put them. I did have a couple extra peppers that I needed to transplant, and I literally just threw them in the ground here like maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't expect anything to come out of these, but if I do, awesome. If I get one pepper, I'm happy. They were literally just gonna rot in the ground, so they're good. This is my son to check out the progress. You like the sunflowers?
This is broken.
Oh, I'll get some glue. We'll fix that up. So we had one extra cherry tomato that I wanted to see if I could grow it in a pot so that I can grow them along the stairs here, because we don't really use it. And this one actually did really, really well. I'm very surprised at this. And this one has more than the other one in the dirt, so maybe because it's closer to us we water it more, I'm not sure. The back garden there, I don't really water that much. So that's the tour, and hopefully I can remember some of this stuff for next year. And we'll see what we grow next year. Oh, I just noticed in the corner of my screen here, my son was walking home from school one day and found a seed on the ground under a maple tree and decided to put it in the ground, so he's growing his own little tree again. So that actually reminds me of another thing. If we go out to the front yard here, I'm not going to go out because it's loud, but this tree here is a plum tree, which he also planted from seed. We put it in the ground not this May, the May before, so he grew it in December 2 years ago, put it in the ground May last year, and this is where we're at now. So hopefully we'll get some plums off this. I think it takes 3 years for it to fruit, but we'll see what happens. And one final interesting one that we saw. Hello, Connor. So like 3 years ago we grew these trees. We grew them, it's a lemon tree, we grew from seed. We grew, I don't know, 10 of them or so. So my son grew them in a little tiny pot, and we gave them away to all relatives and stuff for Christmas gifts that year. So they all loved them. Ours is growing nice and strong. I know my mom's is a little bit weak, but she had to transplant it and shocked it a little bit. I'll have to check in on some of the other ones, but mine I think did so well because the first year I had it sitting under a grow light all winter. And then in the summer we keep it out here on the back porch, and we put it out in mid-sun during the day. So that's a good little tree there. I don't know if we'll get anything off it, but it's interesting. Alright, so I know that was a little bit lengthy of a video, but like I said, it was just for me to kind of document my own garden. If you got all the way through, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, do the little thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. It'll tell me if I should do more like this or change it up, because really I have no idea where this channel is gonna go, if it's gonna go anywhere. I started it just for some fun, and let's see what happens. Anyways, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.